Hello. My name is Jacob, Jackson, Giant Idiot, Jake, Enormous Asshole. This is my co-host, Eric, and welcome to How to DM the World. We are going to be talking about Barbarians this week. It doesn't release weekly, but we'll pretend it does. We're going to go through all the Barbarians in the Player's Handbook, in the SCAG, in the Xanathar's Guide to Everything, also known as SCAG. But first, we start off with a viewer question from a viewer just like you, except it was actually from me. So, how do we organize our play sessions? So, a lot of people do like weekly things where every Thursday at 8 p.m. we meet and play until 10. Yeah.
We don't do that.
Our group lives far apart and we schedule through the internet and then we schedule an entire weekend.
Yeah, we just take 3 days in a row, completely going nuts with playing D&D.
Yeah.
Often splitting up, so we go two different campaigns with half and half of the time each.
So one of us DMs for the first day and until about a bit after lunch the second day, and then the second one takes over. Because we both figured out that like preparing for 20 hours is pretty hard.
Well, it can be rather exhausting as well, to say the least. So, yeah.
Yeah, and it turns out we both have things to do the Monday afterwards.
I don't.
Yeah, because I have things to do the Monday afterwards.
It's good to be free.
So and more generally, how do we know what to play? Because usually, like if you're doing those weekly sessions, you're like, okay, what do you guys want to do next time? We cannot fucking do that.
Nope. But our adventures often take some serious turns of events. At least a lot of shit happens.
We are both happy that we have set up pretty much a sandbox.
I feel like I'm playing really open-minded, but I have also learned that there can be something as too much sandbox.
Yeah. Like I know the world and I know what can be achieved, but usually I make sure that you guys have some kind of goal as we enter a session, right?
Yeah, because if the players aren't really having any player-driven motivation,
it's really hard to start a session with, okay, so we are chilling around in town. What do you do?
What you doing?
Yeah, that can work, right? If, like, I remember I started a session and you're sitting around having dinner and you're talking, and then something happened while they were having dinner, in particular him getting gated.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So balancing that is very important. Just knowing your players and, like, setting up pretty clear goals.
Yeah, that's commonly a good way to go about it, at least.
We are both pretty good at, like, I am very good at the tactic that is, oh yeah, I gotta go pee and then prepare for whatever like random shit you decide to do.
Well, that's not usually me.
Like, not a lot, but usually I'm like, let's just take 10 minutes. I have not prepared you're going visiting this guy at all, but...
Yeah. That's also because I have a tendency to just go about and thinking of a player-motivated reason to do X, Y, and Z.
So, like, the secret to knowing, like, to making these, like, 10-hour sessions, like, know your goddamn, like, player characters.
Yeah, and maybe get some more plot lines in. I make it usually about 3 different plot lines every session.
Yeah. I have usually done what, like, either I have a, like, large thing going on in the world, right? Or something is pulling one of the characters a lot. But the sessions where I don't have that, I usually have 2 to 4 clear goals. I very rarely end the session with like, okay, and everything is done. Except for now when everything is literally done, right?
Yeah, but that's also the end of the campaign.
Right,
well, should we go to the next question?
Yeah, that is our one viewer question. So let's take our main topic with Barbarians.
Oh, we forgot it now.
what we're going to do is we're going to make an overview of the basic class and go through the mechanics of that. Then we're going to talk about flavor and the playstyle. And then we're going to go through each of the subclasses with a focus on the flavor, but also talking about their mechanics. Right. So, a thing that got to me, I think it's a quote from Xanathar's Guide to Everything while I was reading up to this, is there's a quote in the description of Barbarians in there that goes, "The anger felt by a normal person resembled the rage of a barbarian in the same way that a gentle breeze is akin to a furious thunderstorm." I really, really like that. Because it gets the flavor of the barbarian.
Yeah, there's something more than just a typical guy, the average Joe, just ending up with a temper tantrum.
Because, like, what barbarians, like, mechanically are, they are these big buff guys that go into this Super Saiyan or alternative mode type thing when they rage, right?
This is just a primal force from within or an outside force or what else. So, like, the subclass usually defines that. But it's generally just a primal force they invoke and then just turn up and smash shit in.
I put like 3 stereotypical like barbarian like character types here, like the angry berserker, right? Like that guy who just fucking hates everything and is just like, he's not a good fighter. He just fights.
And packs a punch.
Yeah.
He's the guy who goes on and raids some villages and perhaps just tags along for the glory, money.
And then probably my favorite, the Gentle Giant. Like, the like kind of silent, kind of goofy character that just gets fucking serious in combat.
That's what I've been playing, basically, for the past 2 years.
It's not been, like, that aggressive with you, but you have definitely had shades of Gentle Giant in you.
I could be pretty harsh sometimes. But I know.
So, the third one is a bit more esoteric. And I wrote it down as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
That just went over my head.
Okay, so Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is an old English book about this guy who is a murderer, but he has split personalities, basically.
Also bipolar, basically.
Yeah, kind of. He's like a detective at day and a murderer at night, but he doesn't realize those personalities exist. So, like, this character does, like, every day he's like a priest and goes around and priests, right? And then at night he's enormous cunt who kills people. So, like, I have a fascination with this kind of character who's like an old man, kind of boring, but in combat he just like goes crazy.
Well, that's mostly the typical barbarians. They come in all types and shapes. I've personally seen some funny one built in around sometimes.
Yeah.
From the little guy who just suddenly invokes some kind of critical power and then just amasses through.
Yeah. My favorite joke is like the halfling barbarian that just rolls and just kills everyone from the kneecaps down.
That's a good one.
Like, so what is the playstyle of barbarian? I've written like 2 primary things. A big angry in your face hit stuff kind of guy. Right?
Yeah, they're mainly focused on melee combat.
Like they are melee only.
Yeah, they are melee.
So just goes up and hit you. Another way you can do it is like this big bulky tank.
Yeah, they're pretty much, when you say playstyle, I would say they're a bit of both, like, but usually you focus on one of them.
They are definitely, like, they are the kind of 2 paths they can go down. Like, are you focusing on your constitution or on your strength, right?
Yeah. Or you could also go the middle way and go dexterity barbarian.
Yeah, absolutely, and I want to do that at some point.
They can be quite fun because you get the high initiative, you get some okay weaponry with the rapier or short swords if you want to 2-weapon fighting.
The correct answer is 2 rapiers.
I would say rapier and then go for shield.
AC is overrated. What mechanics do the barbarians have? Let's start off with the first and most important one.
Rage.
At level 1, the first like thing written down is rage. They spend a bonus action and they get advantage on strength checks and saving throws.
It's their primary bread and butter because the barbarians just go nuts.
And they get like damage reduction And it lasts as long as you're getting hits or you're hitting something, and then up to a minute.
Yes.
Right.
Also, you can cast spells while doing it, but it makes for a rather interesting play because it's their bread and butter. When you go to combat, you'll usually want to rage as soon as you can get into melee range. And
it's like fighters have the thing where they can attack
action surge.
Yeah, action surge where they can take their turn twice. This is a more long drawn out action. They have limited rage uses per day, right? You start off with 2 and end up with 6 at 19 and limited on 20.
Yeah.
Right. This is the combat today I'm going to take serious. I'm raging.
Yeah, and the good thing about it, because it makes the player also shine a lot, because you can just head in when normally a fighter would take a huge amount of damage, even from their massive attacks. Just help you feel like a fucking god.
And to add on to that, they get unarmored defense. So they are just wearing pants and just fucking running it. Which means that their AC while unarmed gets to add their constitution as well.
Yeah.
Which just flavorfully I really like. Oh, you hit me. I just choose to ignore that.
That's an arrow in my chest. I guess it's okay.
Yeah. I really liked it. And to add to this later on, they get this thing in level 2 called Reckless Attack. Where they have the first attack you make, you choose if you are attacking recklessly. And you get advantage on all your attacks.
For that round.
Yeah, for that round. That is really sweet. That is a great ability. What is the drawback?
In addition to that, all enemies get advantage on attack rolls against that. But it fits so flavorfully. Because it makes sense. And it's really a primary ability that makes Barbarians stand out, because just helps them get on if they really need to take and hit this guy.
It is such a good risk-reward ability.
It's a really good risk-reward feature.
And then where they also get danger sense there, which is very much...
It's an enjoyable ability, because if you don't go a Dexterity Barbarian, for example, it's just a very nice and niche way of helping Barbarians to get out of most...
It's a nice way to make the Barbarian more tough.
Yeah, it helps them a lot.
Yeah, especially with... Barbarians are amazing at all things physical, right? And they're their strength and constitution are always high, so this helps them show off the dexterity, right?
Yeah.
And then they go into the archetypes. They get 5 ability score improvements, which is...
That's pretty standard.
Is it one more than everyone?
Nope, it's not.
5 is standard?
5 is standard. Okay. I think it's rogues and fighters that gets more.
Yeah, rogue and fighter... No, I think rogue get 1 more than normal and fighter get 2 more than normal.
Yeah.
Then at 5, because they are martial
class,
they get extra attack. What does extra attack mean? You get
an extra attack. You can simply just hit 1 more time per turn, but it's incredible helpful.
And they get fast movement.
Oh boy, I enjoyed that.
It's just you're not wearing any armor. You're fast. Then they get feral instinct, advantage on initiative rolls. Oh, are you surprised? What do?
Rage.
You are no longer surprised.
But the main advantage of feral instinct is clearly the advantage on initiative rolls.
Advantage on initiative rolls is so strong.
It's incredible how powerful it is. And I can't tell enough of those times I've just been saving my ass.
But what about brutal critical?
When you get into the higher levels, brutal criticals is something
brutal critical is the reason you use a D12 weapon, right?
Oh yeah, it is. It's incredible.
So when you crit, instead of just rolling your dice twice, you get to roll your dice twice and add an extra weapon die. So if you are using a 2d6 weapon, like a greatsword, then you roll 5d6 instead. If you use a great axe, which is a d12, then you roll 3d12. And you get an extra die at 13 and 17. So at 17, when you crit, you roll 5d12. Critting is strong.
Yeah, and it just further goes well with the reckless attack, because it's incentivized you to use your reckless attack for a higher chance of going for a critical hit.
A lot of these abilities, and especially rage, is just inciting you to use reckless attack.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt that much.
It is such a great gambling mechanic. I'm a big fan. Then they get Relentless Rage, which If you drop to 0 HP while you're raging, that never happens actually. You make a con save that is at 10, then you go to 1. Then you try again. Then it's 15, then you try again, then it's 20, then it's 25, then it's 30.
And so on.
Yeah.
Basically until you fail a Constitution saving throw.
It resets to 10 on a short rest.
Which is so fucking powerful. It's so fucking good.
Yeah. And then level 15, Persistent Rage. You don't have to like attack or get hit.
The main advantage of that is that you can rage for more than a minute, I think.
Like, it's so fierce that it ends early only. So I think it actually like still only lasts a minute. But you it ends early only if you fall unconscious.
Oh, that's my mistake.
Yeah. We learned something today. The podcast served its goal. Indomitable Might. If you roll a strength check that is less than your total score, you use your score instead of like the total. So that is with the modifier. So if you roll a 2 and add your like plus 7 or whatever, then it's just your strength. That's pretty sweet. Then at 20, they get my favorite capstone ability.
It's one of the best, I would say.
Yeah. So in 5th edition D&D, 20 is the maximum for stats without magic. You can only raise your stats to 20 without magical interference. There are books that increase your maximum as well. And the magical maximum is 30. Barbarians get +4 to Constitution, +4 to Strength. Oh, that sucks. My Strength and Constitution already 20. I'm a level 20 Barbarian. Of course it is. It also increases your maximum.
So basically they can surpass most other classes in certain ways. Also, it's basically just getting 4 ability score improvements.
Like, additionally, that is like +40 HP.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
I think it's a very, very cool like ability.
It's a nice touch. It's simple and it's strong. It's very effective.
So like, Barbarians, they rage and they reckless attack. And then they have other abilities to support that.
Yeah, like the first things they get in the early levels is mostly offensive abilities coupled with some defensive. I would say rage.
Rage is their primary defensive mechanic.
Yeah, it is the primary, but it's also a very offensive mechanic just to have advantages and so much shit with strength 6 and saving throws.
Yeah. So, shall we jump into the archetypes, which are called primal paths?
Yeah, because it is.
Yeah, I like that they aren't just called archetypes, that they have like a name. It makes me very happy. I like rules, okay?
So which one you want to start with?
Well, the way they are presented, we start with the PHB, then the Skag, and then the Xanathars. And we go in alphabetical order just in the book. So we start with Path of the Berserker.
I have mixed feelings about that.
So I wrote as a like quick personality. Gentle giant who gets lost in fire in anger as they fight. I think this fits very well with that. Because all of the abilities are pretty much rage enhancement abilities. Except I think the level 14 thing.
Yeah, retaliation.
Yeah, and the level 10 thing actually doesn't require that you rage as well.
No.
Well, so what do they get at level 3? That is the archetype's primary thing. They get frenzy. So while you are raging, you can choose to go into a frenzy. That gives you a point of exhaustion.
The upside is then that you get to make a single bonus attack each
bonus
time.
action.
And that's pretty much like giving you 2-weapon fighting, except you can do it with a great axe.
Yeah.
Which is extremely powerful.
Important note, you only get the exhaustion after the rage ends. So let's look at exhaustion, because I think it's very, very important for this particular class feature, right? So
yeah, it's kind of what makes the Berserker Barbarian sometimes often overlooked in favor for other primal
the thing
paths.
that really hurts it is that you only regain like 1 level of exhaustion per long rest.
Yeah, if they had any ability that would help reduce that.
Yeah. So,
or increase the amount
exhaustion.
that they recover.
The first level, you get disadvantage on all ability checks. That you can actually pretty easily handle living with, right?
Yeah, that's okay.
Your second level, your speed is halved. That's okay as long as you don't have to go into combat.
Yeah, as long as you don't have to run up to them and...
Yeah, as like it's only after radiance, right? So that's fine. The next is disadvantage on all attack rolls and saving throws. Next is hit point maximum halved. Next is speed reduced. Next is like speed reduced to 0 is 5. And 6 is death. So you can only like do this once or twice per day. And every time you do it, you have to take an extra long rest before you're back to normal again. And I think it's a severe punishment, but I think it works pretty well.
It can work pretty well. You just have to know when to use your frenzy.
Yeah.
That's the primary point of being a berserker, I guess.
I really like this archetype. I think the largest problem is that it's a lot weaker than the Totem Warrior, which comes next.
Yeah, it's generally okay, but I would say, especially with their level 10 ability, Intimidating Menace, it takes an action. So.
Yeah, so you can't attack someone. So you choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Okay. They can see or hear you, or hear, so either or. They must success on a saving throw against 8 plus your proficiency bonus. So at 10, that is what's the proficiency bonus? At 10, that's 4. So 12 plus your charisma modifier.
The problem with that, it makes them go they need to be pretty mad. In that sense. If you want to make it work well.
I would really have liked this to be 8 plus your intimidation score.
That would be better.
Like
some degrees.
Because then you can increase your proficiency at least, right? With expertise or something. But the fact that it scales off charisma modifier is really bad.
Yeah, it's kind of what and also it takes an action.
What do you get if they fail? They are frightened until the end of your next turn.
Yeah, and if they succeed, they're immune for 24 hours.
Oh, I hadn't even read that. Oh my god.
Yeah, so
like the effect ends if you are out of their sight or they are more than 60 feet away from you. When you frighten someone, they run away. So it's very...
You have to give up an attack for your attacks for that.
2 attacks.
Yeah, your attacks for that turn.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it pretty harsh and unforgiving. I think it's more of a thing you do in social encounters.
Yeah.
To say the least.
To be fair, like at 10, that is where they get their like social like ribbon ability thing.
Yeah, for general... Yeah, it's general their support ability to say.
I think it's kind of cool, but
it's cool, but I think
you have to realize it's not a combat thing.
Yeah, and that might scare some people off.
Yeah.
I would say it's because we quite literally jumped over the level 6 ability,
which is Rage. You can't be charmed or frightened while raging, which is really good if you're fighting against dragons.
Also, if you already are charmed or frightened, you can just suspend the effects of that while you're raging.
That is really sweet, actually.
So it's a get out of jail free card, basically, if you're frightened.
Especially around vampires. You could have used that once. Okay, so their 14 ability is one of my favorite like abilities for like a martial class.
Yeah, I would kind of have to agree. It's really what makes Berserkers shine in some light, at least, if you ask me.
The problem is that they get it so late, but I love the idea of this guy just taking a hit and just hitting back. It makes me incredibly happy, and I'm like, yay, whenever something like that happens. It's at 14, and it's only 1 extra attack around. I really like it, but it's not overwhelming, honestly.
Nah.
So, like, in general, I really like Berserkers.
I like the flavor. I think the mechanics are a bit wonky.
I think Berserker is a great, I'm a barbarian.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm a barbarian.
It's the basic template.
It's like a champion fighter or a thief rogue.
In that regard, yeah. The most simple of their kind.
Yeah. Like, not just simple, just the, like, least pigeonholed into anything else. Like, the next one is Totem Warrior. some spirituality is added to your character, right? I wrote personality down as an elder shaman leading a tribe of nomads, because that is where I really see them. As this leader of this nomadic tribe, like making totems to animals and like praying to gods.
Or just having simple symbolism in their daily lives. Yeah. They're more superstitious types, to say the least.
In their description, the path of the totem warrior is a spiritual journey, right? Like that is the first thing. Which feels weird for someone to like going in there as a barbarian, but I really, really like where they go with it. Because at level 3, you get Spirit Seeker, which lets you cast Beast Sense and Speak with Animals as rituals.
So you get 2A level, first level spell and a second level spell. Speak with Animals speaks for itself.
Yeah, and Beast Sense let you like see through animals.
Yeah, so if you get to actually befriend one, you can technically see through them and let them help you scout an area.
Like I really like the image of an old elder like going over, hey, can you please fly around so I can see if there are any enemies nearby and seeing through like a little bird's eyes. That's cool to me. At level 3, you also choose a totem spirit. In the PHB, you choose from bear, eagle, and wolf. Bear, eagle, and wolf.
Okay, I would like to choose bear next time.
I want to be a bear barbarian. But yeah, so, and they all get different abilities, and we're not going to go through all of them. But let's like describe the different paths. So like, if you go bear, what do you get? You get resistance to all damage except psychic. You
focus on becoming a tank. Yeah. That's the basics of it. Like it's really just
14 they get that when you're raging, any creature like that is within 5 feet of you has disadvantage on attacking someone that's not you. It's this guy that is like in front of his friends and like very much protective.
Yeah, before the new ones from Santa Fa's Guide to Everything came out, the go-to tank if you wanted to be a barbarian tank was the bear.
Yeah. And then we have the eagle. The way I wrote it down is like a fast and mobile bruiser, right? They get to dash on bonus actions. They gain eyesight of eagle so they can see better. And a pseudo night vision thing with dim light doesn't impose disadvantage on your perception.
That's actually pretty helpful if you don't have dark vision, gotta say.
Yeah.
But I think the main advantage is also getting that the enemies have a disadvantage on attack rolls on opportunity attacks.
Like that's really sweet. And they get to fly. Like while raging, you have a flying speed equal to your current walking speed. This benefit works only in short bursts. You fall if you end your turn in the air. I love that. Just running straight into the air.
Yeah, just someone stomping so hard on the ground, he suddenly just swoops up the air.
What do wolves do?
Wolves are generally a support archetype, to say the least. But they focus on helping their friends in general, but also got some good stuff going for them. At level 3, they get the ability to give their teammates advantage on attack rolls if they're within they make a melee attack.
Yeah.
And yourself are standing within 5 feet of the enemy. Later on, you get to move faster. You can track while moving.
Yeah, so like you can track other while traveling at a fast pace, and you can move stealthily while traveling at a normal pace.
Yeah, and level
that doesn't seem important, but it is if you're really going deep in like travel time.
Yeah, and exploration in general.
Yeah,
I think the level 14 ability is one of the most powerful.
Bonus action. On your turn, knock a large or smaller creature prone when you hit it with a melee weapon attack.
I would like to say that there's no saving throw. Yeah, it's just so knock them prone.
You hit someone, I use my bonus action and knock you prone. That is really, really, really good.
Of the level 14 abilities, amidst all of the primal paths, I would say that it's the strongest up in front in combat.
It depends. If you are like a fighter type, then yes. But if you're the tank, I would go with the
Oh, yeah, of course.
Let's look at this. Let's look at the level 10 thing. Level 10, you can cast Commune with Nature as a ritual. That is so sweet.
I have used that so many times.
It is such a cool ability.
I thoroughly enjoy using it. I'm like, oh, I need answers for this. I need to know of the ways in the woods, or I need to know if something is disturbing the place. And I start communing with the nature.
Yeah, I think it is a really neat ability. So, let's jump onto the skag parts.
Also known as Sword Coast Adventure Guide.
Yeah, I refer to it as a skag because I'm an idiot. It is the Sword Coast Adventure Guide.
Oh, you're too long. Yeah. I know this book pretty well.
So,
here you go.
We have the elk and the tiger. The elk are very, very fast. Their level 6 thing is travel pace is doubled.
Basically, when walking in exploration, you are always on mounts.
That is really, really cool.
It makes fun interesting.
Their travel pace is also doubled while they are on mounts.
Yeah, and that's the fun thing
about it. So their mounts are mounted.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, they also like get movement speed in combat while raging, and they can move through spaces of
another creature while also dealing damage to them.
So they are very mobile and fast.
Yeah.
Not particularly like outside of that interesting. And then we have the tiger, which I wrote down as an all-rounder, because like they get something that makes you jump, and they get proficiency in things, and they get to have a charge attack. So like they have a bonus action attack, but only if you move at least 20 feet in a straight line towards a larger or smaller target.
I think from amidst the level 6 choices they get on the Totem Warrior, the tiger is actually fairly strong.
Getting like two skill proficiencies is really good.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So like I think that covers the Totem Warrior. Pretty like basically.
It should be noted that you can choose a different totem animal every level, because furthermore in Santa For's Guide to Everything there was a primal path that named the Storm Herald, where you have to pick one specifically, and then you can change, but then you have to change all of them that you have chosen previously also.
Yeah, and we will cover that there. Let's look at the Battle Rager. I wrote that down as a small spiky ball of anger. Warning, this is something only dwarves can do.
Which is also
can
the first...
Can I play a human Battle Rager on your campaign?
Yeah, sure.
Same here. So, in the rules and within Forgotten Realms, it's dwarves only. But most DMs is pretty much like, yeah, fine.
People can be large about it. Just give a good excuse for it, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah. It's not like particularly strong, and it's cool, so I don't care.
It's a fun subclass.
Their primary thing is they have spiked armor, and spiked armor is cool. It's a medium armor. It's like 14 plus your dex up to 2. You have disadvantage on stealth. So, you get a bonus action attack that deals 1d4 plus your strength.
Which isn't really a lot.
Yeah. If you use an attack action to grapple, you deal 3 damage.
What makes it combined with feats such as Tavern Brawler or other grappled-focused builds makes them incredible fun to play.
I just like the idea of hugging someone, they take damage. Also, when you use Reckless Attack at level 6, then they gain temporary hit points equal to their Constitution modifier. So just every turn gaining like 3 or 4 temporary hit points is pretty good.
It's a minor thing. Should be noted that temporary hit points doesn't stack.
Yeah, they don't stack, so very important. But like that's still a nice bonus. Then they can dash action in level 10 as a bonus action while they're raging. That's a good ability.
For a dwarf it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And 14, they get Spiked Retribution, which is like Retribution, except you don't have to use your reaction. But it only deals 3 damage. But like I kind of like it.
It's a fun subclass. While it's pretty underwhelming, it can be
It's not like amazing. It's like it is still going to be good, and you're going to have a functional character, and it's going to be fine. But it's not the best one. But it's still cool, and you get to have spiked armor. Do you want to have spiked armor?
I'm quite fine.
I would like spiked armor at least. So I like them. That's the Sword Coast's Adventure Guide. It was pretty short because we took the Elk and Tiger. So let's look in Xanathar's. Oh god.
With the Xanathar's Guide expansion, we got the...
Xanathar's Guide is a great book for any DM. Like, it is amazing, and all the classes, they have, like, ways to expand your role-playing. Like, does your barbarian have any superstitions? Do they have any tattoos? Do they have a personal totem? Like, and they have that for every class, and it is really cool. Let's look at the Ancestral Guardian.
Which is, like, I would say the best tank currently in 5th edition.
I think so, too.
They
are really
great.
Sweet. Like, this is yet another spiritual barbarian. Right now, you're like this spiritual and introspective warrior, kind of emo, kind of...
Emo? I think of more of them as, like, shamanistic in nature.
That, like, summon their ancestors to, like, use them in power, like in combat, right? So, their level 3 thing is, when you're raging, the first creature you hit with an attack becomes the target of the warriors, which is weird wording, but until the start of your next turn, that creature has disadvantage on any attack rolls that isn't against you. And when that creature hits a creature other than you with an attack, that creature has damage. Like, not that creature has resistance.
It has resistance to the damage.
So, like, not only do they have disadvantage, they also only deal half of it.
Yeah.
So that's really, really good.
Yeah, it's fine, to be honest.
And then they get an upgrade, so if you're raging and another creature you can see within like 30 feet of you takes damage, you can use your reaction to reduce that damage by 2d6, which like increases later on.
This is their amazing ability, to say at least. It's like the perfect
There's
thing.
There's no like restriction on this. If you can see them, you are raging and they are within 30 feet of you, you can do this.
And it's what's so wonderful about it. And also, the damage that can be reduced increases at further levels.
So in level 10, it's 3d6 at 14, 4d6.
Yeah.
That's just every turn one of your friends takes 9 less damage. 7 less damage, right?
Yeah.
If you average. And then at 10, they get kind of like Communion with Nature, but it's called Consult the Spirits. They can cast Augury or Clairvoyance.
Which is actually 2 pretty good spells. Augury depends upon the DM, personally.
It's really sweet.
The Clairvoyance lets you actually just make sure that you aren't being followed. It can make some interesting places if you want to spy upon someone.
It has a wrist restriction that includes short wrists.
Oh, I know. But
that just like...
But getting access to a 2nd level spell and a 3rd level spell is actually pretty good.
Yeah, I really like those kind of barbarian features because it gives them some way to gain advantage, and that's really cool. Not advantage, but information.
Like, if I wanted to be James Bond and wanted to be a barbarian at the same time, I'd go for Ancestral Guardian. Yeah. I'll be just watching people.
And then Vengeful Ancestors. When you use your Spirit Shield to reduce the damage of an attack, the attacker takes the damage instead.
To the amount of the reduced damage should be set.
Take the reduced damage, as force damage.
And that's actually pretty good because force damage isn't really resisted that much. Not many creatures resist force damage, as far as I know. I think I can only think of 1 or 2.
One thing that resists force damage is Bear Barbarians. Fun story. So, let's look at Path of the Storm Herald. These were the ones you mentioned where you have to choose a path, which is either desert, sea, or tundra. And you have to gain all 3 abilities from the same one. But you can change your environment choice whenever you gain a level in this class.
Yeah.
Which is really nice.
Yeah, you can start off as a support and then end up to be a damage dealer at later levels because the desert focus is mostly damage oriented.
Let's look at what they get. Because Storm Aura, they get an aura that is 10 feet around you, and that's it. And then depending on your environment, you get something. Like Desert deals damage. Sea, you choose a target when you activate it. So this is all activation things.
Yes. And
so Fire deals damage. Sea also deals damage. Yeah. And Tundra gives...
temporary hit points.
Yeah, to your friends and you. So this pretty much describes the different parts, where Desert is like this fiery, aggressive motherfucker that just deals damage, and Sea is very controlling.
It's also, it's controlling, but it's also more focused, whereas the Desert is more all around. And
and the Tundra, I wrote down as a supportive Yeti.
Oh god, you had to make that?
Yeah, of course I'm gonna make that joke.
God.
So, yeah. And in level 6, you gain resistance to the damage type you have in there, and you gain some small, like, bonuses, like Sea gains swimming speed, and Tundra lets you turn water into ice, I guess.
Yeah, and Desert lets you start flames of unflammable objects that aren't being carried or
warm. If you touch a flammable object, you can set it on fire. I like that. And then at 10, your resistance gets given to your allies if they're within your aura.
Which is pretty good, considered that if you take the Desert path, you deal damage to all creatures around you, as far as I remember.
Yep, that is all creatures.
Yeah. So instead of, you can lessen the damage you deal to your allies then.
Yeah. But that is only when you activate it. So if you position correctly, you can
get around of course.
And then the level 14, Desert, like they all get another activation ability, I think. No, they get different. Tundra gets, when you activate it, you can like freeze an enemy for...
You can reduce their speed to 0 if they fail on a saving throw.
Yeah. Sea gets, whenever you hit a creature in the aura, you can use your reaction to knock them prone against a strength saving throw.
Which is actually quite nice, because then you can secure that you use it your action, your bonus action, and your reaction every turn.
And that's
good action economy.
Action economy is important 5e. And Deserts, if someone hits you, you can use your reaction to make them make a dex save. If they fail, they take fire damage equal to half your barbarian level. If they succeed, nothing.
I'm currently having a Storm Herald in one of the campaigns that I DM. It's quite fun. They can be a hassle sometimes, but they can. I think it's fun because it is described as some primal magic they invoke. Through their rage, which also makes them one of the more magical barbarians, considered that they can't cast spells while raging.
Yeah, like it is mentioned in the description that they like usually trainers around druids and rangers, which is kind of cool to me. So like in a clan of furbolgs, this would fit right in.
At some degree, yeah.
Like if I made a furbolg barbarian, this would be the way I go, definitely. Because of like their connection to nature. Also, like a Triton barbarian. Come on. So like in general, this is kind of cool, and it's good.
Yeah.
Path of the Zealot. So again, I have a description. A Templar were wrathfully leading crusades decades after his death. So, they get 2 things in level 3. Divine Fury. Fury? Yeah.
Yeah, Divine Fury lets you add extra radiant or necrotic damage to the first attack you make each turn when you're raging.
I like these, like, you get an extra attack on the first attack you hit. Like, you get extra things the first time you hit a creature. I think it's a sweet way to give them something extra every turn, but not making the attacks incredibly powerful. And then they have Warrior of the Gods. Your soul is marked for endless battle. If a spell such as Wasted has the sole effect of restoring you to life, but not on death, they don't need material components to cast it on you. That means you can just be raised at it for free.
Yeah, because also the Zealot is very focused about being religious at some points. I would say I love it because it reminds me of Warhammer 40k's religiousness for the Emperor.
I like the idea of some like religion just having like a basement full of hundreds of these, and then we're going to war. For the next week, all our priests are just raising them from the dead, and just instant army.
Don't give me plot ideas.
I'm an idiot. Okay, but like, I think they're really cool, and I think it's really nice to have a divine version of Barbarians.
Also, they're quite strong mechanically.
Yeah.
Like the level 6 ability lets them reroll a saving throw.
Once per rage.
Yeah, it's okay because
Like that,
when you really
that's
need it.
important text.
Yeah, of course.
So
But just being able to reroll any saving throw you choose,
yeah.
it's quite well. Just need to think about what is happening.
And it also, if you fail. So it's not after you roll, but before the DM sees it, one of those things is like after you fail. And then at level 10, they can channel divine power as a bonus action. Okay, up to 10 other creatures than you, within 60 feet of you, that can hear you, gain advantage on attack rolls and saving throws until the start of your next turn.
Which makes them kind of supportive ability. It's quite good.
I like that, like, as an army leading thing.
Yeah, I find it kind of funny to find it on the sale lot, but...
Yeah, it's kind of weird to see it there, but I kind of like it.
No, it's a great ability. It's a great ability.
And then we mentioned they have, like, Barbarians have persistent rage. So if they get put to 0, they have this con save that they can use to not die. They get an upgrade. While raging, having 0 HP doesn't knock you unconscious. So even if you fail that saving throw, you're at 0, fine. You must still make death saving throws, and you suffer the normal effects of taking damage while at 0 HP. However, if you would die due to failing death saving throws, you don't die until your rage ends, and you die then only if you still have 0 HP.
It's one of the best ability in this game. It's so fun. just because of the flavor
I am
in
raging.
it.
For a minute, you will have to deal with me.
Which makes it fairly fun.
I really, really like that. Just, you thought you killed me. No. Now you have to outlast me.
Yeah, and also because you can fight on even if you fail all your free death saving throws for this minute.
Yeah, that is so sweet.
And you can technically still get you still can
and
get
even
saved.
Then you only die if you have
0
HP still. So
when the rage ends. So the cleric can heal you at the last second, and then you just I'm good.
More relevant, just okay, we're at turn 10, healing potion. Like, yeah. And then next turn, you rage again. That is all the archetypes. So, our next bullet point is a mechanical rating of the archetypes. So, if we had to rank them from worst to best, I think the clear worst is Berserker.
I would say Battle Rager even.
Oh yeah, I meant Battle Rager, yeah.
Because Battle Rager is just... Because the Berserker can definitely both out-damage and outweight, because it isn't...
I think, like, it's kind of hard to me, because I want to say Battle Rager is on the bottom, and the top is Totem Warrior.
Yeah, that's a clear winner. I agree.
And then, like, all the 3 Xanathars things and the Berserker, I'm having a trouble placing.
No, I don't see the trouble.
Okay.
You see, you have the Totem Barbarian with clear distinctions, where the bear and some of the wolf features, and also some of the eagle features, are in a clear high-end tier, with elk being a bit lower, and some of the tiger features.
Travel pace elk is really, really good.
If you go with it, a lot of DMs tends to forget.
Yup. And I'm gonna try not doing that in my next campaign.
Yeah. If that's the case, then it's good, but it's good for specific purposes. Yeah. But in general, it's just a good mix.
Totem Warrior is so versatile.
And that's what lends the top spot.
Yeah. And Battle Rager is just...
It's really restrictive, because you have to have the armor. You have to get the armor.
And most of the benefits are only if you are raging, and it's not that great.
The problem is also you're restricted to certain things that actually make it's more of a niche archetype. Like, the next is the Berserker, I would say, if we go from the bottom. Then the next one is Berserker. Because
I can see that.
The problem with it is mainly frenzy. And just, I would say that intimidating menace, because I think it should scale off something else.
Yeah, fair enough.
Because the charisma makes it really hard.
Yeah,
or really
that is
mad.
One thing I forgot to mention on Stormmower. The DC for the Storm Aura things are 8 plus proficiency plus constitution modifier.
And the primary problem with medicine is that it goes with charisma.
Yeah.
And
so
I know I'm a weird barbarian player because I like wisdom, but I know also a lot of barbarians who just want to focus on strength, constitution, that's it.
Yeah. So Berserker number 5. What is number 4?
There it begins to get a little more hard.
Right.
But I can say it isn't the Ancestral Guardian. It's clearly a number 2, I would say.
Yeah, I would get Ancestral Guardian on 2. And I think I would put Storm Herald over Zealot. I think Storm Herald is more interesting mechanically to me. But Zealot has a lot of like world implications and lore that I really like. But I think I would give it to Storm Herald.
You would?
Yeah. There's just so much personality in it. And I really like having the mechanic of an aura around you while you rage.
While I would say it's more flavorful in some degrees, I would say the Zealot actually is stronger mechanically than the Storm Herald.
I'm not sure.
Primarily because of the bonus damage you get on each of your turns.
Yeah.
Also because of their level 10 ability, which is incredible. They actually don't get anything really filler, if you ask me, because the only really filler or ribbon ability is that spellcaster doesn't need material components to resurrect them.
I can go with that. So number 1, Totem Warrior. Number 2, Ancestral Guardian. Zealot, Storm Herald, Berserker, Battle Rager. I'm sorry, Battle Rager, I love you. So, our next segment. We are going to rate all the classes we have talked through so far. So far, Barbarian is my favorite.
That's a good way of saying it.
Yeah. And this won't be we aren't saying the bottom ones are the worst.
No, the good thing about 5th edition is that all subclasses can work.
It is really hard to make an unplayable character in 5th edition.
I do my best.
Unless you are rolling stats, then it's really hard.
I would say even if you're making a barbarian, if you even roll low stats, you can still do fairly well.
No, if you roll stats, you can just, 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, right?
Yeah.
So, then that's a bit... But with point buy or standard array, it's really hard to make a 5e character that doesn't work.
I kind of agree.
Yeah. Bounded accuracy is a good fucking thing. Good. So, now the way I want to finish this off is, I want you to pitch me a barbarian. If you were to play a barbarian in my campaign next, what barbarian would you be playing?
To be honest, I already did that, so you know where I'm going.
No. Not a key. New barbarian. New barbarian.
A new barbarian.
Who are you going to be?
Well, currently since I've been playing a totem barbarian, I wouldn't take that. I'd probably go off on the more shamanistic side still, because I tend to be more in this world of magic and wonder. I'd like either to go full on martial, or I would like some parts of it to be a little over the top or unnatural. So I'd probably make a Ancestral Guardian barbarian, clearly.
Okay, yeah, let's get some personality in this guy. Why is he using his ancestors to fight?
He would be a highly superstitious person who would go on and fulfill his grandfather's lost quest and then restore honor to the family embracing. Probably be a more simple race. Half-orc, perhaps. I could go with that. Or just a dwarf.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna come in with my hot take. I have been thinking about this a lot. I would love to play a Furbolg Storm Herald. Furbolg from a tundra.
From a tundra? So it's supportive or something?
Yeah, coming from this clan in the north, wandering through the snow and using that ability, growing up around all these druids and people with real magic abilities while I'm just an angry boy. But I try to use my anger to help people and have him be this really stereotypical gentle giant. like using a like maul and just oh no, my friends are in danger. Let's put up a shield, like that kind of guy.
Yeah,
Like that would be fun to me at least.
I see where you're going with it.
Yeah. So that has been this episode of How to DM the World. Thank you guys for watching. This was a joy. This is our first in our 12-step series on all the classes in D&D.
We got a lot of ways to go.
To end up, I would like for you to spend some time currently, because I'm going to go on to dmsguild.com and check a thing. A couple of days ago, we released another homebrew archetype. Actually, a collection of 3 archetypes for the Bard class. The College of Exploration, the College of Laughter, and the College of Wonder. And it is currently sitting at 99 downloads. So there will be a link in description to our collection of these 3 archetypes where you can go buy or download it. And we would appreciate it very much if it hits 100 at some point. Additionally, we have a lot of other stuff like this out there, and we are definitely going to do some episodes on it and talking about it.
Yeah, sure.
And should we hint as to next episode? Do we have any idea?
I think it would be one of my least favorable classes, the Bard. We're going with next.
No. We aren't going to go straight on to the class. The Bard will definitely be our next class.
I'm saved.
Yeah. You're safe for like another couple of weeks.
Oh, good.
So let's take a more general like D&D topic, like maybe how the game plays out, or more specific, how to prepare for a session.
Yeah, I can go
like
with
how
that.
to prepare an adventure.
Some general guidelines.
Yeah, and then have a sample adventure type thing. So we will figure that out before we go live next time and have an idea of what we're doing.
I don't have an idea of what.
Thank you for watching. My name is Jake. I used the goddamn wrong overlay. I am Jake. He is Eric. You can contact me on the Twitter down there.
Like, I noticed the wrong overlay for like a half an hour ago.
You should have told me. I'm gonna go fix it right now. So, properties.
I was just laughing my ass off.
It is fixed now.
No, I like to do it in secret.
I can't like even go back and edit it.
Now you know why Arkham Knight wanted you to love him.
Yeah,
he wanted your love, man.
Fair enough. Thank you for watching my voice. This has been How to DM the World. And we hopefully see you next time.
Over and out.
I'm getting the last word.
Fuck you.